Well, alrighty, fellas. Good morning, good morning. How are we doing today? Good morning to all the PokeMMO fans. What's up, what's up? Once again, we are doing that special thing today where we start the stream with hide and seek for 1 million Pokeyen. Now, I'm going to actually tell you the region, okay? The region, and it's my home channel. I'll tell you that, okay? Home channel plus the region. I am in Kanto because someone commented, hey, you should do one of these in Kanto. And you know what? I be listening, okay? I actually be listening. So get your HM friends ready, your Fly Ocarina, whatever you need. Get ready, Freddy, set, go. First person to find me and appear on screen. Your character needs to like show on screen. I'm gonna be totally honest. I don't think I would get this. I feel like I have spent a ridiculous amount of time in Kanto. I have played this game for a ridiculous amount of time. I don't think I would get this location. This is really, really, really hard. Actually, super, super hard. So you think you know where it's at? Yeah, I'm curious to see how long it will take. This spot is very, very hard in my opinion. Oh my God, someone's already here. You guys need to touch grass. You play this game way too much, but congratulations. Over to Naihu. That's unbelievable. Okay, for those who don't know where I'm at, that's actually crazy. Congratulations, dude. Second place for Nez. I respect it. Dude, look at this. For those who don't know where I'm at this random little alcove north of Island 6. I would have never gotten this. I've played so much PokeMMO. You never come over here. You just pass by this section. Like you just head over to the west, you know, and head over into Pattern Bush. Like you never go to that little location. That's actually crazy, you know? But anyways, good morning, good morning. How are we doing today, fellas? I have nothing fancy planned today. I'm gonna go collect some Pokeyen, I guess, and do some stuff. Little maintenance over here. I have some shittos that I bought for cheap on the GTL. Always good to pick those up. And then here, I sold a Grovyle for 150k. We're gonna claim that, get 800k. We're gonna claim that, back up to 69 mil. You love to see it. Perfect, perfect. Pat, go to the Mudkip spot. You'll get shiny Mudkip for sure. Trust me. You know what? I'm feeling overly trustful today. I don't know if this is the Mudkip spot you're talking about, but I haven't been to this spot in a long time, and it's actually super cool. So let's head over to it. This is a really, really cool shiny hunting spot in PokeMMO. Single encounters. The only downside is that it's tall grass, but you pop lures here. You can't bike here. You have to run back and forth. The Mightyanas are also kind of a downside, but these spawns here, dude. At this location, you have a chance for shiny Absol, shiny Marshtomp, shiny Tropius, and shiny Kecleon. Once again, 4 rares, but not quite the level of rares as like Sudowoodo and stuff, I guess. Where do you get XP candies from? I have almost 4 mil worth of them and still don't know where you get them from. You get them from alphas, man. So a lot of players will like catch alphas, you know, or kill alphas or whatever, and you just slowly build up XP candies. If you catch a lot of alphas, go to your bag, check what XP candies you have. They're worth a fair amount of Pokeyen, so you may have some Pokeyen you kind of just forgot about or didn't realize sitting around in your bag. Pat, do you think 5 shinies in 564 hours is good? If you're pulling like even close to 1 shiny every 100 hours, that's really, really good with like how much there is to do in the game and how much like sidetrack there, especially like your first couple 100 hours, which are like front loaded with storylines. That is extremely good. Hey Pat, in your own opinion, who's the most underrated non-OU Unova Pokemon? That is such a specific question. Like, do you mean like for PvP? What is he underrated for? Is the Pokemon underrated for OU, underrated for UU, NU, storyline? Like, what's the goalpost? Underrated for PvP is the goalpost. Okay, so you're looking for, so I assume you want a Unova Pokemon that is not an OU. This is so specific that I think is underrated. So I'm gonna look at UU, obviously. Unova Pokemon underrated that could be good in OU. Unova Pokemon. I mean, Seismitoad gets played in OU. That's not underrated though. Seismitoad just gets played in OU in rain teams, but only in rain teams. Spiritomb's Gen 4, Gen 5. Sigilyph really strong enough for OU? Probably not, but I could see it having a niche. I mean, my easy answer is going to be Durant. Now, do I think this Pokemon's actually good enough for OU? Probably not quite, but goddamn would it be fun, dude. This Pokemon is so fun. Hustle is one of the coolest, one of my favorite ability in Pokemon. Boosts the attack stat, but lowers the accuracy. I think it raises your attack by, is it 20% or 50%? It raises your attack stat, but it makes all of your moves like 20% less accurate. So if you every like 100% accuracy moves becomes 80%. But you can run Home Claws on Durant too to like kind of make it up for that. So I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Durant. Hustle would be super sick and funny to run in OU. Yo, I'm starting my first egg hunt. How many boxes should I strive for on Charm when I'm learning the mechanics? I think when you're learning, now make sure you have custom strings. I think custom strings are a requirement when it comes to egg hunting. I have a really in-depth guide I'd recommend checking out on how to hunt for a rare shiny. I think if you just Google like how to hunt for a rare shiny, PokeMMO should pop up. It's one of my guides that I'm the most proud of, honestly. But anyways, I would shoot to create around 360 eggs. If you are new, maybe 300 to 360, but I think if you're new, you should be able to aim for 360 pretty easily. I think it's pretty fair. And then you want to like slowly aim for like, you want to go from like 360 to like 400 to like maybe 420, 430. Once you're I think my best hour still is only like 434 or something like that. So if you're pushing over 400, in my opinion, you're doing very well. But I would push for 360 eggs made in 1 hour. Why does your shiny not have any effects? I assume you mean the like sparkle. So one of the best things you can do to actually be able to use shinies to hunt is by going over to particles and clicking this. I'll show you outside the battle. So if you have this like on, like a green box around it, it will do like the little sparkle. But if you have that off, it won't do the sparkle, which is nice because if you had to have that on to like shiny hunt and stuff with the shiny, it would be super annoying. Yo, Pat, what are you gunning for on this route? My number 1 shiny here would actually be Tropius. Number 1 would be Tropius. Number 2 would be Marshtomp. Number 3, Absol. And number 4 would be Kecleon. That player to your right is named HotDogPizza. Is he really? I gotta see this. Wait, where is he at? Someone named what is it? HotDogPizza. What a banger name. This is better than a shiny, I'll be honest. Okay, can I quickly talk about how insane Pokemon Go is? So I got back into Pokemon Go, I think around 10 days ago. Yeah, I think actually, it was like the 23rd that I started playing. So I got back into the game around 10 days ago. Do you know how many shinies I've gotten in 10 days? 13. I don't know, and I play a fair bit, but like nothing, I don't know, crazy. Like, is that very? Am I just lucky, or like I know I've played a lot of Pokemon Go before. I know the shiny rates are insane. Shiny rate of Pokemon Go is 1 out of 25. No, it's 1 out of 500, right? And then it becomes 1 out of 25 on community. There's a Bagon Day coming up, Community Day. It's not 1 out of 25. It's 1 out of 500. And then it becomes 1 out of 25 on Community Day. And then I think certain like raids and stuff are lower as well, like 1 out of 64. I think legendary raids like 1 out of 20. There are some lower memes that get pretty crazy, but it's still pretty insane to me. The fact that I have been back to the game for 13 days. I've gotten a shiny Weedle, a shiny Oshawott, a shiny Pidgey, a shiny Seviper, a shiny Liepard, a shiny Samurott, a shiny Starmie, a shiny Murkrow, a shiny Sableye, a shiny Hoppip, 2 shiny Poochyenas, and a shiny Galarian Darmanitan. All of those within 10 days or so from being back to the game. Just seems ridiculous. I don't know if all of my shiny luck is getting transferred into that game and not PokeMMO, but it just seems silly to me. Wait, this guy's name... Dude, we got some good usernames today. This guy's name is Strudel Exploodle. We got HotDogPizza here shunting with us. And Strudel Exploodle. Salmon Hot Dogs, says my fiance. Don't remind me, dude. Food take of the day. This is the coldest food take imaginable, but I can tell a story. Salmon hot dogs are ass, okay? Now, how does salmon hot dogs even exist? Do those even exist? What are you talking about, Patrouski? I know, okay? So, I bought salmon hot dogs. They were on clearance, okay? They were on clearance at a grocery store. I bought salmon hot dogs. I had 2 of them. They were, like, weird as hell. They have that fishy taste in a hot dog, which is disgusting. But they were, like, fine. I ate 2 and it was eatable. And then I left them in the fridge for, like, probably a week or... Probably too long. Probably a week or 2. And then I tried to eat them. I tried to eat the other 2. It was like 4 hot dogs in the whole thing. I tried to eat the other 2 and I put ketchup on them this time. And I took 1 bite and I like threw them up. It was foul. I don't know if they had like gone bad. Imagine like salmon hot dogs that had gone bad, like gone rancid. Like they were, dude, that was horrid. Don't buy salmon hot dogs even on clearance. Not worth it. Just stick to ballpark. What is this gift? What is this donation? Where did he? How did he? What? How did he get all of these? 1,000 golden nuggets. This is 5 million Pokeyen worth of golden nuggets. How did he even... Like, this wouldn't be easy to get. I'm actually so shocked. I'm just... Like, he'd have to buy all these. No way. No way he payday picked up long enough to save 1,000 gold nuggets. No way. Or gambling? Oh, did he like open a shit ton of... Wow, that would be pretty funny if he like opened a absolute metric shit ton of like sealed product. That's wild. Oh, dude, I just realized mysterious great balls spiked up, didn't they? They like properly spiked up. So I can actually... I'll show you guys this chart really quick. On March 22nd... That's interesting. On March 22nd, they were 29k a piece. And now they've spiked up to like 36k within about 10 days or so. That was the exact day I started playing PokeMMO. Coincidence? Yeah, it was. Yeah, March 23rd, they were like 29k. And now they're up to like 36. They spiked a bunch here. A lot of people have been buying it. It makes sense. Like a bunch of... It makes sense. A lot of the other mysterious balls have already had their spike and these didn't really spike yet. So... It makes sense, but it's definitely interesting. Mysterious Pokeballs having a small spike from like 18k up to like 22. I want to buy more of these. But I feel like at that point I might as well just go. Well, I don't want to buy the Great Balls after their spike. What are Premiers at as well? Are they still spiking? 368. Cherish Balls kind of coming back down a little bit after a big spike. What else? Ultras. It's like what other ones are there? You know. It's interesting, dude. How much did this cost? 2 mil? I'm down to pick those up for 21.5. We'll pick those up. Have these slowly rise. That's super cool, dude. That is an interesting question or an interesting like problem that we'll have to solve. Talking about like PokeMMO's player base increasing and just like increasing popularity. Someone said increased player volume might be tough to manage for the devs. That is true. And the devs, the problem is the devs are really, really secretive about their code. So much so that I've only ever seen them hire one new dev over like 10 or 11 years. And it was just someone to manage iOS. But the problem is I want them to start expanding and I want them to start hiring at some, I want them to be forced to expand. I think it's a good thing. It's a better thing if we have more devs to make more content and increase the player base and grow and grow and grow even more. I think it's totally worth it. I think forcing the devs to let in more people to the code and have more developers is probably more beneficial in the long run. Even though it's scary at the start, you know. 52,000 encounters, Pog. How long do these 52,000 encounters take? We did the math recently, but I forget. So what we'll do is around 6 hours were times 5 hordes encounters, which is around 1,000 encounters per hour. So it's 6 hours for 6,000 of them, and then you would take the other 46k, right? And you would do that divided by 300, the amount of encounters you get per hour on single encounters. So 153 plus 6 hours, around 160 hours for all these encounters is what it took me. It depends on what method you do, but that's generally the method I've done. Is capturing male Pokemon more valuable to sell? It depends on the Pokemon, right? So like, if you have a female species, right, like a Gibble, that's worth more because Gibble is a desired Pokemon, right? Like Garchomp's one of the most desired Pokemon, so having a female to keep that species in the breed, whether a male or female is worth more or not depends on the species, and the reason it exists is because the female of a breed decides the species, right? So if you breed a Gibble, if you have a breed and the female in the breed is Gibble, it's going to come out as a Gibble, which is really good, but if you have like a female Bellsprout, people don't really want Victory Bell. It's not very desired, so that's not really worth as much as comparatively to like a male Bellsprout, which could be used to breed something better. Like what egg group is Bellsprout, for instance? Was it plant something? Plant, right? So you could use Bellsprout. What's a good plant Pokemon? I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Sure, Superior. You could use like a 2x31 special attack and speed Bellsprout to breed with a Superior, which is actually a valuable Pokemon, you know? That's kind of the way to keep it. That's a good question. When you mention PVM Pokemon, do you mean verse MMO? I've looked it up and I can't find what the abbreviation means. Sorry. I think that's a term that comes from RuneScape players. And that's like, that's why I use it. PVM just means player versus monster. It's pretty much the same as PvE. PvE, I believe, stands for player versus environment. Here, PvE, player versus environment. If I look up PVM, if I Google PVM, yeah, not much comes up. I don't know why, but like everyone in RuneScape calls it PVM. So that's the term that I use. Apologies. PVM versus PvE. Let me see if something comes up. Player versus environment, also known as player versus monster. Okay, yeah, that's yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing, pretty much. I think it just comes from MMO players. Apologies for any confusion with that ever. Does anybody know if with the simple ability Sword Stance gives you +4 attack? Yes, I can 100% guarantee that it does. Dude, playing simple Bibarel in PvP was some of the most fun that I've had. It's awesome, dude. So for those who don't know, what you can do is get yourself a Bibarel with like Adamant Nature, 31 attack IV, 31 speed, and you go Swords Dance Simple ability. So Simple is an ability that says the Pokemon is prone to wild stat changes. It doubles all stat changes. So if someone intimidates you, it's -2 attack. But if you Swords Dance, it's +4 attack. It doubles everything. Same with Curse. Curse ends up being +2 attack, +2 defense, and then -2 speed, which is really interesting. Stuff like that. And Amnesia is like +4. But like, Bibarel is one of the most crazy Pokemon, or it can be, but its stats are obviously horrible. But you can do Swords Dance, go +4 attack, and then run like Aqua Jet and Quick Attack, or like Waterfall, like you can do some crazy shit. And you run like, yeah, Simple plus Belly Drum. Simple plus Belly Drum would be kind of useless, no, because Belly Drum puts you to +6, and you can't go higher than +6. So I'm pretty sure that's not how that would work. I thought Simple gives +1. I thought that too until I've played a lot of PvP with Simple Bibarel, so I can only speak from like a lot of experience. But otherwise, I'd probably assume the same thing, dude. I get the assumption. It's literally some of the most fun I've had in PvP is playing with Bibarel, dude. If someone like doesn't expect it and you get one SD up, you can just end the game. It's so scary, dude. If someone doesn't know what you're doing, if you like run Bibarel and OU, someone's gonna see that, not know what you're doing, and you could just end them, dude. It's so fun. Can Bibarel get Aqua Jet? Yes, it can get Aqua Jet and Quick Attack, and both are stab. It's normal water type. But it can also do like Return or Waterfall as slower moves. Okay, in terms of the Black and White 2 discussion, I have apparently a lot of people don't like my take on this. I don't think Black and White 2 is different enough to be worth adding. That's my take. Take that, feel free to disagree, fair enough, right? However, a good option that I've heard is like kind of replacing Black and White 1 with Black and White 2, or even just implementing the extra map, because people have said that there's different like cities and new cities, and the map is bigger in Black and White 2. I feel like adding the elements, or like layering over the elements of Black and White 2 over Black and White 1, that's probably fine, but like I feel like it's monotonous to add Black and White 2 plus Black and White. That's kind of like they didn't add Kanto 2 for Johto. Why would they add the same? Obviously there's some differences, but I don't think it's nearly enough. And the argument becomes like, would you add like Pokemon Mega and then also Pokemon Omega, or sorry, Pokemon Ruby and also Pokemon Omega Ruby? Like, it just seems ridiculous at that point when you're just adding like remakes and adding like differences. Obviously people just seem to love Black and White too, which I respect the like cult following for, but it just seems, I don't think it would fit in PokeMMO personally. But once again, just my opinion, feel free to disagree politely. Okay, to catch the recap up, we're talking about Gen 6, which is always a very hot topic when discussing with the PokeMMO community, whether or not we should add it, how would it be balanced, etc., etc. That's all, difficult discussion, and rightfully so. What I don't understand is when people say, like, oh, it's not possible. People argue it's not possible. I feel like it's very, very possible. I don't see the argument for how it wouldn't be possible. Now, I'm not a developer. I don't have much experience. It's my feeling. Let me say that. Let me qualify and say that's my feeling. I feel like I don't see how it wouldn't be possible. Someone put out some concept art on Reddit like a while ago. I made a video on it. If you look up what Gen 6 in PokeMMO could look like, it looked very normal to me. Like, I feel like people don't people, in my opinion, look back at Gen 6 and the transition to 3D and think of it as being like so crazy, so insane. But like, I don't think it was as drastic as people remember. Because look at this screenshot. This is just concept art, keep in mind. But like, this is like the level of like 3D world we're talking about. Like, it's not that crazy. It's really, really, really not. It's not like we're playing like Monster Hunter or some shit. Like, I feel like this is a pretty doable level of 3D. And like, look how like these character sprites fit in. To me, this actually looks very natural and very, like, this looks very good to me. Now, some people disagree, which is super fine, obviously. But like, the little Sylveon follower sprite in the bottom right, this looks very, 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 very good to me, in my opinion. I'd rather their efforts be spent on new content like raids, rotating legendaries, maybe a summer event to fill the time between Lunar New Year event, etc. comparatively to a new region. That's a super fair and based opinion. If you prefer just like the Gen 1 to 5 experience and just want like extra kind of Gen 1 to 5 plus content on top of it, super fair. There's a whole discussion about like the discussion, in my opinion, about whether or not Gen 6 should be added and whether it's like balanceable and like whether the community wants it or not. That's a really interesting, tough discussion. I just, for whatever reason, it's my like pet peeve when people say it's not possible because there's a jump from 2D to 3D sprites or whatever. I'm like, it's not really even the case. We've already made the 2 to 2.5D jump, which a lot of people don't realize, and then it's 2.5 to 3D, which is a bigger jump. But I've done this rant a million times. Essentially, I believe that Gen 6 is aggressively possible, and the more interesting discussion and the harder discussion is whether or not we should do it, how do we balance it, yada yada. We did just get Johto. I'm good for 2 years at least. It is really funny how, like, I feel like as soon as it's at the devs, I feel bad for the devs. Imagine spending like 4 years working on a new region, and then as soon as it releases, everybody's just like, all right, when's Gen... Like, the most important topic in conversation is when's Gen 6, and it's like, come on, dude. Like, I prefer... Raids are definitely the more interesting, I feel like, conversation slash topic slash more wanted thing right now. But it is funny when that's the meme. Been wanting to play a Pokemon MMO. Obviously, the audience here enjoys PokeMMO over Pokemon Revolution Online. But can someone give me some reasons as to why I want to download the better game? In my opinion, I would play PokeOne. If you're gonna play like a Pokemon MMO, I wouldn't recommend Pro at all. I would go PokeOne. PokeOne, in my opinion, is just better than Pro if you're looking for like a comparable thing. But obviously, your assumption is correct. I think PokeMMO is the best because I play it. It makes sense, right? I'm biased. I think PokeMMO is the best. I think it has the best shiny hunting system. I think it has the most competitive and best PvP system, the most balanced economy. Like, all of these sentences, if you don't understand the systems, are going to sound very, they're all like kind of blanket statements. Like, oh yeah, I think PokeMMO is the best because it has the best shunting system and the best, economy and breeding. And I can try to go in and explain why. Like, the real core aspect of PokeMMO does kind of come down to breeding, right? And it's really unintuitive for new players. If you're a casual player, you may not like this, but in PokeMMO, breeding consumes the two Pokemon, and it sounds really bad. If you're a casual player or a traditional Pokemon, that sounds horrible. You're like, oh, that sounds like a nightmare. Why would I want that? But the reality is, what it ends up doing is it ends up, number one, sinking good IV Pokemon from the game. Number two, it gives you more control over the IVs and more control and consistency. So everyone is able to get 6x31 PvP Pokemon, and it makes PvP way more competitively consistent versus trying to wildly catch like a 31 speed timid Starmie. And then if you don't have that in PvP, if you don't like farm for hundreds of hours for that random catch, then you're at a huge disadvantage. There's things like that, like it helps the PvP system, it helps the economy, and the shiny hunting in PokeMMO. It's a 1 out of 30,000 encounter rate, which is very high and very rare, but the fastest way of shunting, ×5 horde shunting, is actually directly comparable to traditional Pokemon shiny hunting back in like Emerald or any Pokemon in the game that's 1 out of 8,000 or whatever rate. It would take around 30 hours, I believe, the single encounter for a 1 out of 8,000 shiny, the same as 30 hours for a ×5 horde. So there is some reasoning to it, and it does actually line up pretty well. 1 out of 30,000 sounds pretty scary, but you could just do ×5 hordes and eventually work your way up to those longer, bigger shunts. Hopefully that explains why I think PokeMMO is so good and why it absolutely trumps other Pokemon MMOs for sure. Is there a dialogue box that stops you from running away from shinies? Yes. It was one of the best quality of life updates that PokeMMO had, in my opinion. Absolutely. There's a little confirmation that says, are you sure you want to run away from a shiny? Yeah, Salamence is back in UU, and it's already the most used mon. PvP is kind of... I'm not playing, so what the fuck do I know? I'm just looking at data, right? Just looking at the PvP stats. There's not that many UU games that have been played, but dude, I feel like they're struggling to balance stuff right now. There's a lot. Once again, I think a lot of this would be solved by extra tiers, man. I feel like we really need RU and PU in the game. Like, I really think that would help a lot. I think it would help even out the distribution of, like, we see now, right now we're seeing OU is balanced. I think OU is fine. But like, we're seeing things like 56% win rate, 61% win rate on the top 2 mons in UU. Like, that's insane. And then in NU, we see like 56% win rate Blaziken. Now, it's gone down a bit since more games have been being played, which is good. But 55% win rate Rotom at the top. Like, these are insane win rates. We'll see at the end of the month. I think once way more games are played, it will be a better indicator. But I'm a huge advocate of RU/PU always. Have any untiered Pokemons came and dominated a higher tier with an update to it? Superior is the easiest example. 100%, dude. Superior went from, I mean, to be fair, Superior went from like top tier NU threat. Like, Superior was kind of a pretty good NU Pokemon for a while, to once they added Contrary, I mean, an insanely powerful ability, immediately bumped up to one of the most powerful Pokemon in all of OU, right? Another example could be Espeon. Espeon was like a mediocre NU threat, like medium to like high tier, I'd say NU threat, not mediocre. Once it got Magic Bounce, boom, all the way up to OU. A lot of NU pokes have actually been bumped up to OU over the past like year or two. It's been a fair bit, to be fair, but over the past year or two. I'm trying to think what else. I'm sure there's other examples. Doug Trio constantly goes back and forth between NU and like untiered and OU, which is a hilarious difference. Like, whether it has like 80 or 100 attack stat truly matters that much, and then the Arena Trap is just a painful, annoying ability. I need a mental reset, boys. Let me visit a PC. I'm just sick of being dry. I'm gonna be honest. So much so that I kind of want to do something heinous. We got a shiny charm from Darth. 1,000 nuggets is so insane. I'm just gonna keep those. All the shiny charm donations. Thank you guys. You're too nice. Trying to get me to break this streak. There's the charm pop. Okay, I'm gonna head somewhere then. The question is, where do I want to head? I'm gonna do like a couple fishes here, just to use up these lore steps, just like an in-between little rotation, dude. If I get a shiny in these like couple fishes, dude, it was meant to be. Okay, I'm gonna go sicko mode. I can't wait to say that out loud. We're gonna head over to Ruined Valley. Now, actually, at Ruined Valley, I need a runaway Pokemon because there's Wobbuffets, which is super annoying. So I actually need a... we can grab one of my Raticates. Here, we'll grab lead players. Certainly, I'll get some good RNG from lead players. I feel like I actually might. We'll see what happens. All right, here we are at Ruined Valley, guys. This spot's really interesting. Wish me luck. You get Jolteon here with lures, which is pretty interesting. And but the main shiny I would want here would just be Yanma. I'd be happy with a lot of the fails, to be fair, but hopefully we break the streak with something. Patrouski, can you explain why people, including you, shunt Cranidos with fossils over breeding? Isn't it breedable? That's a great question. The dynamics, like the differences between breeding for a rare shiny versus popping fossils, if it obviously has a fossil form, which only the fossil Pokemon do, is really, the math and the differences are really easy. The main thing to keep in mind is the amount of encounters per hour that you get when you're actually like getting the encounters. So like whether you're making the eggs or popping the fossils, it's around the same. I think fossils are slightly faster. Like I think you end up popping around, if you can make 400 eggs in an hour, you're probably popping around 420 fossils. It's pretty comparable, the hourly rates. However, after you're done, the main thing is the aftercare, right? So after you're done making those 400 eggs, you have to spend 6 hours hatching them. Whereas with fossils, you can either A, just release them all, or B, sell them all. And the selling all the fossils takes like 1 to 3 hours. So you save so much time. Like you save so much time doing fossils, it's ridiculous. It's a huge, huge, huge time save. But fossils are also a lot more expensive. So like skull fossils are, it's tough to calculate the numbers, but they're really expensive right now. Generally, skull fossils, I bought most of mine for like 6 to 8k. I think nowadays they set around 10k a piece. Yeah, you're kind of right. TLDR, breeding is cheaper, fossils are faster. That is kind of true, but there's also a lot of, there's a lot more to it than that. It's just really complicated. There are some really interesting distinctions and like what kind of gameplay style you enjoy. I did a huge mixture. I probably did the hard thing with fossils as well is like it's harder to stock up on fossils. Only so many fossils come into the game. If you check this, if you check the skull market, the skull fossil market, right? There's less than 200 fossils on the entire market, right? Whereas you need 30,000 on average, or probably like 24,000 something for like the shiny rate plus thunder status per shiny, right? So if only 2 people in the entire game are shiny hunting skull like Cranidos via fossils, you need like 50,000 fossils on the market, which that may take 1 to 2 years for all of those fossils to come into the game. Like fossils come to the game way slower than Dittos, way slower. So that's, you have to like it usually took me like 2 to 6 months of stocking up on fossils before I'd have like 1 to 2k. It took a long time just to prep all that, right? So that's another thing to factor in. So there's a lot of back and forth between fossils and eggs. This is quite the way to share the shiny you've just received. Holy fuck, K-Nomals. So you got a, I'm so happy I had to share it with you, despite not being able to whisper you. I'm sorry. I usually don't let people, I'll let people ask, like, hey, like, can I whisper you the shiny I just got? And it just becomes a lot, because a lot of people get shinies. I try not to congratulate everybody, because it becomes too much. But I would congratulate the fuck out of you for a wild encounter shiny Charmander. Chat's telling me, flip that. God damn it. That is insane. Dude, congratulations. I will send that back to you as soon as possible, because I just feel icky for holding. I don't want to have your shiny. That's a dude. Congratulations. Imagine if you sent it to the wrong person. Yeah, that would be could have been bad. Single encounter Charmander, dude. What a baller. The spot seems so poopy. Imagine phasing with Wooper Evo line. Yeah, this spot is. There's the reason I said I'm going sicko mode. This spot is super high risk, high reward. I wouldn't recommend most people single encountering here. I'm just kind of, I need a mental reset more than anything. And also there is a small chance at Zapdos here. Shiny Zapdos, which would be kind of funny. Why do you not use Payday Pickup as you look for shiny / Zapdos? It slows down your encounters dramatically. If you like just get encounters and then run, you'll end up getting around 300 encounters per hour, usually doing single encounters. If you Payday, you'll end up with like 150 to 200. It like cuts your encounters in half. So it's dramatically slower. Even though you're making Pokeyen, if it feels more satisfying and fun to you to do that, more power to you. That's totally fine. But it's more efficient to just go make Pokeyen for an hour and do that like straight versus and like then they'll go like encounter for an hour and do the activity separate. But if it's more enjoyable for you, that's all that matters. This is a good question. What's the lowest amount of encounters you've had to find a shiny? Dude, after shiny hunting for 10 plus years, I've been all over the spectrum. I've been 300,000 encounters dry, and then I got my Stun Fist. And then I've been 106 encounters dry and got my Shuckle. Dude, I've been all over the place. Are there any shiny legendaries on the GTL? I actually like don't know. Like Zapdos, Articuno. I'm looking for shinies. Articuno. Someone was asking how much a shiny legendary would be in terms of USD, and obviously you don't go buy one. You can't RMT. Like that's very, very against the rules. But the way that I judge things in terms of like US dollar evaluation in PokeMMO is by calculating how much RP tickets would you have to buy to be able to go buy that item with Pokeyen, right? I don't know if there's any at all, which makes sense. I feel like they're all over cash stack limit. So Entei, Raikou, I can't think of the names. Suicune. I'm pretty sure all the legendary shinies would be over cash stack limit. So like at least 2 bill, probably like I know the first one sold for 5 bill. I feel like they'd probably go for like 2 bill, 2 to 3. So if we count that at 2 points, let's say the average value of a shiny legendary is 2.5D or 2.5 bill. Obviously a very broad thing. But so 2.5 bill, right? So $10 USD is worth, how much is 1,000 RP? 1,000. Dude, RP is really cheap right now. What the hell? That's actually crazy. 252. Look at this whale. Look at this absolute whale. This man has 252 1,000. Look at this fucking. Okay, now fuck this shiny legendary discussion. I need to see how much money this guy spent on these. Look at this whale. Holy shit. This guy spent $2,520 on RP vouchers. Look at this whale, bro. Holy. What a crazy thing to catch on the, wow, on the market. That's nuts. That's actually disgusting. Holy shit. Okay, anyways, the value, back to the legendary, back to the legendary discussion. Okay, how much would a shiny legendary cost? If it costs we could even just calculate like 2.3 or whatever and just do this by times like a million or whatever the fuck the math is, right? So how much would you need if it's let's just do it. 2.5 billion. My calculator reach that? Yeah, it barely can, but you guys can't even see it. So let's extend that. 2.5 billion divided by, how do you do math on this? 2.3 million. This is the amount of 1,000 RP vouchers you would need, and then you would do this number times $10. So 10,000, around $10,900 USD is how much US dollars you'd have to spend to get the Pokeyen to buy a shiny legendary. So whoever said $20 or $300 for a shiny legendary, like, not even close. I see that you use lures. Does it matter what lure you use for the Pokemon you encounter? It doesn't really matter what lure you use, but I mean, I would not recommend premiums or legendaries. They're really expensive for what the benefit's good, but they're just so expensive. For reference, I think premium lures cost around 600,000 Pokeyen, or like 400,000 to 600,000 Pokeyen per hour to use, whereas expert lures cost around 15K. Like, the price difference per hour is crazy. Expert lures are super good. I think everybody, if you're single encounter shiny hunting pretty much anything, you should be probably using expert lures just for like the 10% increased encounters per hour. The only time you might not want to is if it adds a super undesirable shiny. A really good example is like in the Safari Zone. At certain like Safari Zone spots, it adds Raichu, which is like a super uncatchable Safari Zone Pokemon and not a good shiny. So you don't pop Charm, or you don't pop lures in like certain spots in the Hoenn Safari Zone, but there are certain things like that to think about. Now that's a more interesting question. I mostly catch for profit. Should I use lures or not? And what lures? Pretty much always expert lures. Whether you should use lures when catching for profit is dependent on the location. I would recommend just testing wherever you're at. Like if you're gonna catch like Squirtles for profit, or you're gonna catch like, you know, Abras / Meowths at that spot above Cerulean City, if you pop a lure, you'll get Squirtles, and it's probably definitely worth it, you know? It depends on the location for sure. It's a good question. What do you think the next legendaries will be? Kanto as the birds, Johto as the dog, Sinnoh ? Unova, Hoenn ? I think the biggest, like, the wide regarded speculation right now is they'll probably add, the Reggie trio to Hoenn. It's there's just going to be no balancing issues because they're so bad. Like, there's just no worries, you know, with them. So it's a pretty easy ad. Yeah, this is a great time to talk about this once again. Hey, Pat, I just recently found out about this game. Do you think it's actually worth starting nowadays? Dude, I think absolutely. The reality is, a lot of people think it's not worth starting this game because the game's been out for 10 years. So they're like, oh, man, like there's all these players who've been playing for like 10 years and I'm so behind. But in reality, most, like, so few players, like less than 1,000 probably, have been playing since like 2013 and haven't taken like a 3 to 5 year break or like long extended breaks and periods, and like no one plays for 10 years straight. So if you're a new player and you just play hardcore for like a year or two, you're gonna catch up to most of those players. Now there's some extreme examples, like people who like may have invested in or owned like Electric Storms or Old Vanities, but there's tons of ways to catch up and make Pokeyen and just progress really fast. A lot of it's just game knowledge. Another thing to keep in mind is like the game's just been like buffed and progressed aggressively, right? Like back in 2013, like you're not gonna find anybody with like hundreds of OT shinies. The most I've seen is like 120 to 150, and that's a lot of like times 5 hordes, right? But like prior to, what was it, hordes didn't get added to the game until 2017 or some shit. So you have to think about, like, prior to 2017, all of EV training was done via single encounters. All XP training, all shiny hunting was single encounters. And then on top of that, like, PvP has been reset a lot of times. So it's like comps from 2013 aren't useful. Like, things back in 2013, you had like E-Punch Alakazam, because that was before the physical special split. So you'd have like Alakazam with Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, and Psychic. And that was like the meta mon back then. So like so many things, the game has changed so much, and balancing has been revamped so many times. PvP meta's changed. Like it's just, there's not really that 10 years of progress. You're not actually that far ahead, aside from like knowledge and the fun you've had along the way. The other thing to keep in mind is like, it takes players a shockingly long time to just learn efficient methods. You think back at like, look at like World of Warcraft back in like 2006. Like, look at like original release vanilla WoW, right? Nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. Everybody thought it was super hard, all these things, blah, blah, blah. But then when like vanilla WoW came out and got re-released, everybody realized, oh, this shit's actually really easy. We were just brain dead back then. We were just actually really dumb. So like gaming has progressed so much that like back in 2013, 2012 PokeMMO, we just didn't know what the fuck we were doing. Like we just like rambled around like morons, and now we've learned a lot, and now we're a lot more efficient. So there's a million reasons to why it's totally, you're able to catch up within a year or two and just totally progress super fast, and it's never too late to start playing PokeMMO. Yeah, once again, I need another mental break. We're gonna switch up locations. A lot of just running around doing funny stuff today while shunting. I want to go check Shelter. I don't know the best place to shiny hunt Shelter. I want to try different locations. Let's try Johto or Kanto locations first. I think, is there a common spot in Kanto? 5 but not like very common. There's a couple very common spots like New Park Town, Johto, Route 26. I want to see, now very common doesn't mean they're all made equal. I want to see like what are the other spawns firstly, and then how quote unquote very common is it, if that makes sense. Because some spots with very common encounters could be like a 40% of the time, and some could be like 60 to 80%, right? It just depends on how many other spawns and stuff are there. So we're gonna put our Raticate away for the time being, and I'm gonna grab my third Raticate. I'm gonna grab my Exceldor. Exceldor is what I use for fish and shunts. That sticky hold ability is nice. All right, here's spot number 1 that I'm gonna test. People actually single encounter here for Staryu, shiny Staryu / Starmie. This is the best place in the game to go for Staryu, which is a really cool shiny. Not one that I'm super interested in personally, but I want to test fishing here and see how crazy going for Shelter would be. The issue is I really don't like the shinies here except for Shelter, which is the problem. So far I've seen Shelter, Love Disc, and Krabby. Let's see what this is. Yeah, Love Disc again. Thoughts on a new game plus mechanic? Did a Google search and I could only find one forum post. Dude, I would actually love, I think the ability to replay the storylines in PokeMMO, as someone who hates storylines, would be really, 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 really good for the game. I think rewarding players and encouraging players to have the ability to like replay storylines versus just creating a new account to have to do it, right, would be, I think it'd be really good. I think it'd be really good. I've done videos talking about that before and kind of going over like what could be rewards, like maybe if you reran like all storylines like 5 times or something, you get like a 0.01% shiny rate increase or something, you know, kind of silly, but it'd be a tough thing to earn. But there's some really cool permanent rewards that could exist from that. All right, Shalfa check time. Altaria, how lucky are we? Not that lucky. Let's go test Johto in terms of Shelter spots. New Park Town would be a really comfy one. Like if I can just go New Park Town. And while I'm here, you know what? Let's go test New Park Town to see how good it is for Shelter. And then while here, let me go heal really quick actually. We can go, well, let's go do Furret, dude. Why not? People seem to love Shiny Central / Furret. This spot's kind of neat. We got Chinchou here. So I've seen Chinchou, Shelter, and I've seen Tentacruel. Tentacruel being a phase here definitely sucks. We'll have to see how like common that is. But Chinchou is pretty cool if you ask me. Let's see what else. Yeah, Tentacruel sucks. We got Cloyster here. I bet Cloyster is the lore, honestly. That's actually really good if I can get Shelter or Cloyster as a option. Yeah, New Park Town lore. That's kind of a cool option. That increases the chance a bit. Dude, have you been dry since Shiny Wars? Do you want to know the real answer to that question, Cats? Because I think you already know. Okay, I feel like whenever I go this dry, I start to lose my mind. I'm baby raging so much. I'm really not that dry. It could be worse. But I might go Safari Zone. What do we think, chat? What do we think? For the content? Well, for the content, fellas. Locking in. It's time, fellas. Safari Zone time. You know, I'm 52,000 dry. At this point, I might as well be 52k dry and then also have the possibility for the shiny to be able to flee. I think that's just kind of more interesting and kind of, you know, you might as well. You know, why not throw fuel on the fire? Okay, I just got 3 Raichu encounters in a row. That's a 5% chance 3 times in a row. But I can't get a shiny? It's a sign? I'm going to wear out this lore step because shiny Raichu, I just explained earlier in this stream, Raichu is a terrible one to have. Shiny next, triple Raichu spawn into like, yeah, that was actually nuts to get triple 5% spawn. That was insane. Okay, well now what is happening? I just went triple Raichu into triple Apom encounter. Okay, finally a different Pokemon. It is so weird. It's 1 out of 8,000. Is that true? 1 out of 8,000 to see 3 Raichus in a row? What are the odds of seeing 3 Raichus in a row and then 3 Apoms? That's so insane. It's like the same rate as a legendary encounter. That's actually crazy. That Raichu thing. It doesn't seem like anything crazy when you actually... That's nuts. Does a shiny fleeing still pay out believers? That's a great question. It does. You know why? Because in the gambling outcome, for those that don't know, every Twitch stream I do like a bet where you can pick, will I encounter... I think it reads, will he find, like, encounter a shiny today is the question specifically. Shiny today question. Yeah, I always track that, as I always have thought of it as like, will I encounter one? So even if I get a Safari Zone shiny and it flees, that will be a W for the believers and the Twitch chat voters. All right, that is that safari trip done. I'm gonna come back and do more. I'm not done being crazy, but I do want to go check my honey trees first. All right, here is the last honey tree, and I think that is gonna be it for today, guys. Really good stream, 4.5 hour stream, a healthy one. After doing some shorter streams recently and skipping Monday, so it was nice to come back, do a bunch of shunting, answer a bunch of questions, have a lot of conversation. Thank you guys for watching as per usual and enjoying PokeMMO's quote-unquote slow period with me during March and April and sort of leading into the summer when things will pick back up again and get a lot faster with events and people being off of school and work and stuff like that. So thank you guys as usual. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it, if you want to see more. Follow on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below if you're interested in that. If you want to go above and beyond and support the content, it's really appreciated. YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo donations do go a very long way. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace, Reno.
Yo, what's up? I just want to quickly say thank you so much for watching the entire video. That's very, very cool of you. And it's even cooler for all of these people to go above and beyond and support my content. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much again.